Namaste, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Actually, our students are gone for a break. Please bear with us for a few minutes, ma'am.
I didn't get you what you said. How many minutes we have to wait for them?
A minute or two, ma'am.
Okay, sure, no issues.
Namaste, ma'am. We can start the session. Thank you so much.
Okay. So, I believe all of you have settled down at your places. Am I audible and my screen is visible to you, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, welcome to the first class of the chemistry. So here we have to, or we will be learning through the chemicals. That is, everything around us is chemical. Do you know that? You yourself are a chemical. In the break, you might have eaten a piece of something, or you might have drank a glass of water. Both of them are chemicals, right? So, anybody, do you feel interested to understand the nuances or the nitty-gritties of chemistry? Ma'am, please give mic to anybody if they can speak on behalf of the class.
Yes.
Anyone can answer that question.
Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
The question is, how do you define chemistry in your own language? What are your expectations from the subject? Anyone? See, like physics helps us in understanding the processes taking around us. I'll define that chemistry helps us in understanding the processes taking inside the living and non-living bodies. Non-living bodies, sometimes we induce the processes in them. I'm waiting for a minute, ma'am, for us, everybody to settle down in the class.
Yes, ma'am, we can start.
Okay. So, first of all, let us set the pace of the class or the mood of the class. So for that, I need you to answer these two questions. You can read the monitor or I'll just read it for you. That, do you believe in ordering your favorite food from same restaurant or asking your mother to cook it again and again every day? Everybody or every one of us has a favorite food item. Some of may be liking pizza, others may be liking idli sambar, like that. So, do you ask your mom to do it repeatedly? Okay. Do you revisit your favorite place very frequently?
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, thinking and talking on the same lines, we have to revisit our NCERT books. Whether we are appearing for JEE entrance or we are appearing for NEET or any other competitive exam or even the class 11th or a class 12th board exams. Everything is written in the NCERT books. There is a saying like there is no need to reinvent the wheel. That is, if somebody has invented the wheel, we must make various uses. Like in automobiles, the cars run on a wheel, different types of chakkis. I believe you understand there is a, in the olden time, there used to be a grinding machines. We have helicopters running with on the principle of wheel. So there is no need to invent another type of wheel. Wheel is sufficient. Similarly, even if we have to crack the toughest exam as per the Indian board syllabus prescribed by CBSE or various regional boards, it is NCERT which is sufficient. So what we have to do, we have to keep on revisiting the class 11th chemistry book and 12th chemistry books in the next year. The purpose is that every day when you revisit the concept, you will be thorough with them. There will be no need to look for any other book or any other practice material. They are sufficient in themselves. So that is the first thing we must keep in mind. Another thing is that we must go into details of it. They might have said one simple concept in a single sentence, but we must understand that. That is the first step. The second step is that we must reproduce the same as and when asked. Is this making sense to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't hear you. Can you be a bit louder, please? We must not be bored, as we are not bored by our favorite food. The NCERT books should become our favorite food to eat and favorite place to revisit. Moving on to the chemistry part of it. So just I'm trying to make you understand that there is a relevancy and there is a relationship between class 10th and class 11th syllabus as well as the class 12th. So let us understand the nitty-gritty of the subject. To begin, here you can see I have tried to make it to show you an attractive diamond ring, which is made up of diamond, and the other material used in making it is platinum, right? Now, both of them, we know that we have studied in class 10. If not, I'm telling you right now that they are two different elements. Elements are made up of atoms. Are we knowing this fact or not, students?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a concept of class 9, that every element is made up of various atoms. The atoms, according to the modern chemistry, can be identical or they may be in the form of isotopes. Can someone define isotopes for me? Just only one person. I request ma'am to give the mic to someone to tell me the answer. I'm just not looking for a precise definition. Whatever you understand. We will take up isotopes when in the next class, we'll be studying the
Isotopes have same atomic number but different mass number.
Very good. What's your good name? See, I also need to know your names. Like, you know, my name is Dr. Shikha. So what's your name?
Yashwant Ram.
Okay, thank you. But the atoms of, so the Vaishnav has given us the correct definition of what are isotopes, that they are the atoms having same atomic number, but different mass number. And atoms of two elements are different. That means that atom of diamond, which is an allotrope of carbon, will be different from the atoms of platinum. Now, if you try to know more about atom, this fact, again, I'm just quickly going through what we have learned in class 10, that atoms are too small. You cannot see them with the naked eyes. The clothes you are wearing are made up of atoms. The books you are using, or the copies, or the pen, whatever, or the screen on which you can see me teaching you is made up of various types of atoms or various number of atoms, but we cannot see the atoms, right? What do we need to see an atom? We need a very powerful electron microscope to see an atom, which is very difficult to do or demonstrate in the classroom. But we just need microscope. We must have seen in the biology laboratory sometimes. So we just need to have a vision that it is something more elaborated than a normal microscope. So when the scientists, with the help of various instruments and technologies, they performed different experiments and found out that atom is made up of still smaller particles, which we call them as proton, neutron, and electron. Now pay attention to the note which I have written at the bottom of the slide, that it is an imaginary representation. Imaginary means that we cannot see. Like sometimes we say there is God or there is no God. We just have to believe that there is a certain supernatural power and which has various shapes, energies and all that. Similarly, we just have to imagine And please note and be careful. That's what I always keep on reminding you students, that we have to pay attention to the details. If you look at the images carefully, you can see that the size of this proton and neutron is almost same, but electron is drawn very small, right? So this in class 10th, you might have been taught about their numbers. Numbers means what is their exact size and what is their exact mass. So we just need to at times be more careful when looking at the graphs and representation and try to reproduce them as and when possible. If I have drawn atom of carbon, if I have drawn an atom of chlorine, you will always be finding a visible distance. Say atom of carbon, if I'm drawing on a screen, I'll be drawing it like this, and chlorine like this, because their atomic numbers are far apart, right? So whenever you are drawing, because atom cannot be seen, it can be just drawn as the scientist or the forefathers have told us. So be careful whenever you are drawing them. Moving on, we understand, or are you aware of the fact that inside an atom, protons and neutrons are part of the central part, which we call it as, can somebody name this central part?
Nucleus.
Very correct. So the nucleus is the central part of an atom, and in the outer part, the electrons are found. Where they are found? They are found in shells or nucleus. Sorry, shells or orbits. Have you heard about the term orbits?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't get you. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now coming to a live example or a day-to-day activity. Suppose I am in your city and I want to visit your home, or your friend from outside has come to your city and he or she wants to visit your home. What you will do? Or how will you help him to reach or to find your home? It's not chemistry. It's a general thing. Google Map. Interesting. Huh? I'm living in a place where we don't have a internet and a Google Map. Or even if you provide me, I don't know how to use it. Then how will you help me?
Say loud.
Use a mic and or a bit louder
By sending the location.
by sending the.
Well, it is said, if the person has no connectivity, net connectivity. Next.
We're telling them the directions.
Okay. See, there must be different vendors delivering food to your home. What do you provide them? Don't you provide them your address? What you said is correct, but you want, see, sometimes these things are not available in the nooks and corners of India. And even abroad, I'm not too sure, but they might not be available. So what the first thing is, suppose I want to reach you, you have to tell me your address with, see, if I can tell you my address, that it is 10 by 15 of Palm Road, Shipra Sun City, like that. Then I will mention the city, whether it is Noida, Ghaziabad, Delhi, Chennai, Bombay. And sometimes pin codes may also help us. So if you provide your complete address, so somebody will reach you. Supposingly, you have not told your friend, you have told the name of the society. Let's say the name of the society is Shipra Sun City for time being. Now, if I don't provide you my house number, now let's reverse the scene. I want you to visit me to clarify the doubts. I just say, come to Shipra Sun City. I have told you everything, the name of city, everything, but I have not told you the house number. Will you be able to reach me? Yes or no? Okay, great. And by random knowing, just talking to some people, you may reach, but it will be too difficult for you to reach it. So what I mean to say is that it is very important that we share the smallest detail of the locality, house number, which somebody wants to reach us. Now, if I talk about this particular thing, we know that if somebody asks me कि orbits कहाँ पर होते हैं, orbit, and how can we get that? How can we reach find the electron in a shell? If I tell you that electron is present in the second shell, so what you have to do? You have to search for the entire area of the second shell, isn't it? You will be running around in this entire circle. So to solve this problem, what scientists did, like you might have seen the fridge rack carefully at your home. Does it have a partition or not? Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
The fridge rack has certain shelves and subshelves there or not?
Yes.
I think it has a large shell and which is divided into certain equivalent number of subshells, right? Similarly, for the sake of convenience of locating an electron in an orbit, what they did? They divided a shell into subshell, right? The only difference in the example or from the example of the fridge is that in this case, all the shells, subshells rather, all are equal. But in case of orbitals, we say they are not equal. They divided each of the orbit into certain number of subshells, and each subshell can accommodate different number of electrons. So if it is a S subshell, it will have 2. If it is P, it will have 6. If it is D, it will have 10. And if it is F, it will have 14 electrons. Don't go into the details as of now. This is just my attempt to make you understand that there is an association in the class 10th and class 11th syllabi. So, have you heard about Borbori rule? It's a class 9 concept. How many of you can tell me what is it?
No, they have not studied this.
Hmm.
Both model of atom, you know, correct?
Okay, have you heard about the 2n square rule?
Okay.
Have you heard about the 2n square rule?
This,
I'm not able to hear you. You are saying something, but it is a mixed voice. I'll appreciate if only one person can answer my question.
okay.
Anybody can help me with this answer? Have you heard about 2n square rule? Or
Yes,
use it? Okay, what do you call that rule as? That is simply Bohr gave two rules. One was that maximum number of electrons in an orbit can be given by 2n square. The second, the maximum number of electrons in an orbit cannot be more than 8 or less than 6, isn't it? What is the name of this? What is the name given to this concept in your books?
Don't
Bit
know.
louder, please.
Don't
I didn't get you. I'm so sorry. Okay. Correct me if I'm incorrect. I can just hear that you don't know the name of, or either it is not taught. Ma'am, can you just take a mic and repeat what the students have said?
What is the name of?
But you have studied this not in the name of go by rule, but you know what is 2n square. What that n denotes, small n.
Great, correct. So maybe I know the name, or it might not be, you know the rule that is important for me. So now the important thing is that in class 9, what you studied was filling of electrons in orbits, right? Now in class 11, what you will learn, I think you can predict. We will learn about how the electrons are filled in orbitals. Right? Orbits, I can just simply say 2n square rule, and I don't prefer to write 2n square only because it has another rule also, right? And in orbitals, electrons are filled according to 3 more rules. One is about, the second one is Hund's, and the third one is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. There are 3 rules into it, right? There can be much more, and when we go into deep diving of the chapter 2, that is a structure of atom. So whatever we in class 11, one thing is we have to follow and religiously study through NCERT. Number two thing, whatever concepts we have learned in class 9 and 10, we have to build on them. So orbits is what we have learned in class 9, that has to stand intact. And then we will move to orbitals in your chapter 2. Now, this is your class 10th syllabus. I believe all of you are familiar with it. What I have tried to do, figure you out for you, is where is each and every chapter kept or related to which chapter, so that whenever you are coming to the class, you can at your own learn or revise or practice the concepts of that chapter. This is your class 11th or NEET, JEE or entrance exam syllabus. Nobody asked you beyond this syllabus, right? As of now, we can say so. So the first chapter of your class 10th was chemical reactions. It can broadly be related to redox reaction, but if you ask me, it is everywhere. There will be a reaction, then there will be numbers. So it is there in chapter number 1 also. But we can broadly say it correlates with redox reactions, because in chapter 1 of class 10, you studied about the oxidation and reduction reactions, which are collectively known as redox reactions. Then in the chapter of equilibrium, you will be discussing about acids, bases, and salts, your chapter number 2. Then metal non-metals, the chapter number 3 for you in class 11, which deals with metal, non-metals, metalloids, and everything. The last one is carbon compounds, which is very, very important. And it, as you can see, chapter 8 and 9, which is organic chemistry, and the second basic concepts, and the last one is hydrocarbon. You can see that maximum weightage is given to organic chemistry. So that is most important. How comfortable are you in that particular chapter? Can anybody tell me? Are all the concepts of class 10th clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you tell me the name of 4 carbon, or sorry, rather the third member of homologous series of alkenes? third member of alkene series? Ma'am, I'll appreciate if you can just give mic to anyone, or you can just take answer and tell me back.
Say loud, correct.
You can have butane, ma'am. Butane, ma'am.
Butane. Okay. The first member is ethene. The second is propene. And the third one is butane. Very correct. And butane can be two butenes. Butene 1 and butene 2. Right? So that means you have a basic understanding about the isomerism also. Making sense to all of you? And excited to know more about them or not?
First,
Okay.
alkene itself has 2 carbon atoms.
I didn't get you. Can you just repeat it?
You have 3 carbon atoms. Okay.
Hmm?
No, I was just explaining them. They
Okay.
have the doubt why that butene having 4 carbon atoms is the third compound.
Okay, they can ask me, I'll answer them. See, alkene is not the purpose of putting alkene there was that alkane, homologous series starts with methane. But if I talk about alkene means they have 2 carbon atoms, right? Minimum of 2 carbon atoms are required because they have to form a double bond like this. And I believe you know that if I have left these valencies, that means they have hydrogens filled there. So the first member has to be ethene, not methane. Methane is not possible because single carbon atom can never form a single, carbon-carbon double bond. This carbon atom alone will not be able to form a double bond. So that is the reason the homologous series of alkene and alkyne always begins with 3 carbon atoms. I hope it is clear now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So let's move forward. Now somebody gave me this. Now can you see my hand, and there is a colorless liquid in it? Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, before drinking, I want to ensure that it is water. How can I find it out?
By checking pH, ma'am.
By taking pH. Any other thing can be used or not? There can be litmus paper also, isn't it? See, now this is the bottle of liquid pH solution. pH paper and pH solution, that solution, both are available in the market, universal indicator. So what I will do, I will pour few drops of it into this, right? And if the color remains same, that means it is water and it is safe for me to drink it, right? Can you see there is a slight yellowish color into it? And if I have another sample of water, This one. Right? So it simply shows both of them are not safe for us to drink. Right? This is a small activity, and pHs and finding pH or finding water neutral or not neutral is a day-to-day job which we should do at our home. You must be having RO systems at your home, which is based on a process known as reverse osmosis. Have you heard about it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when you take out water from it, have you ever checked its pH? Or have you ever found out whether it is safe for you to drink or not?
No, ma'am.
Okay. See, I give you one tip that you must, while using chemicals, be careful. But pH solution or litmus paper, you can ask your parents to have that at home, because of it will help in preventing many lifestyle diseases. If somebody is suffering from acidity itself, I believe you know that it was a concept in class 10. Acidity means that HCl which is produced inside our stomach is highly acidic in nature, and if it even eats away the lining of the stomach. So it is important that whatever water we drink must be neutral, or we can say it must be slightly alkaline. So do you know, do you understand one fact, that if this is your stomach, right, rest of the part I'm not drawing, there is HCl is a strong acid. Why it does not harm this layer, harm this stomach? Any idea? Just take a mic from ma'am and just speak. In only one of you should speak.
Mucus layer, ma'am.
Mucus layer. Okay. And then what is acidity? You must have heard about acidity, ulcer, how they are caused.
Over segregation of HCl.
Okay, whenever we party hard, we eat so many spices, then this layer, this HCl is evil. There is a protective layer which is on the top having the mucus. This layer is destroyed. There are patches into it. So once they develop patches like this, then we say that ulcers have taken place, right? And one more important application of pH in our daily life is that the milkman adds a chemical before it gives it to you. What is that chemical? Can anybody name it for me? So this is one homework for you. I'm not going to name the chemical today. You will read your class 10th books, and in the next class, that will be the first question we will take up. Or if anybody knows the answer, tell me now. With the reason I want.
Yes, listen, ma'am has given it as the homework for you. Go home and find it out. What is the chemical compound added by milkman into the milk before he distributes it? Okay. Water. No, water is not a chemical. Maybe it has some chemical compound in it, water, but not water. Good.
See, I'll give you a more elaborate example, or I'll explain it more so that the question is more clear to the students. I'm saying that there is a milkman who has to travel, say, yeah,
Ma'am, it's baking soda. Or sodium bicarbonate.
right. That is the correct answer. See, sodium bicarbonate is slightly basic or alkaline in nature, right? So therefore they added so that the pH of the milk remains around 7. It's slightly basic, 7.3 to 7.8, and it does not get spoiled because milk contains lactic acid. So acid will be destroyed when they add sodium bicarbonate. A neutralization reaction takes place, right? So homework is cancelled. I have given you the answer, or someone or most of them, you knew the answer, right? So whosoever feels there is a need to revise the concepts of class 10s or class 9s, please feel free to share the list with the ma'am who's in the class right now. Then, because as I told you, that orbit to orbital journey can be taken up only if we know the orbits very clearly. I can teach, if you know isotopes, isobars, only then I can teach you what is an isotone. If you know the mole concept of class 9, I can teach you the mole concept as it is taught in class 11. So that's my sincere request to the dear students that please ensure that if there is any lagging behind, or there is you need certain help in a certain concept, please share the list with ma'am, right? Now talking about the syllabus of class 11th, as I have already shared with you, we'll be beginning our journey with some basic concepts of chemistry. Have you ever tried to just flip through the pages of your book?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you have read the first or the second chapter at your own, or somebody has taught you?
Yes, ma'am.
Just take a mic and be louder.
Yeah, which topic it is covered. Which are all the topics covered.
Ma'am, up to percentage composition.
Okay, up to percent composition you have done. Great. Percentage composition was in class 9th also, I believe, right? No, it was there. You might have, but see, that was I think that was a Corona time. We might have flipped up, or the CBSE might have decided to not include in that year of paper. So maybe that is the case. Now, coming to the next thing important, which is important to us, that where do we find all these elements? Or do you know how many elements are known to us today? 100 and 120. No. We know only about the existence of 118 elements as of now. I don't know whether whatever you said, I could hear only 120. Even if you have said 118, I'm so sorry. I heard only 120. So tell me, where do we find these elements?
Periodic table, ma'am.
Good. So what is periodic table to a scientist? Periodic table to a scientist is like you have a box in your home, the medical box in your college or institute or a school or at home. It is like, it is a most important tool in the kit of a chemist or a scientist or a chemistry teacher or student. Here you can see total 118 elements. The element which are recently discovered, I've just put them separately with their names. For the entire 2 years, we have to talk about these elements, sometimes one by one, sometimes in a group, in the horizontal or in the vertical format. Do you understand this fact? See, I tell you the reason. It is impossible. Suppose you have 2 or 3 siblings at your home, and everyone has a different choice of food. One wants to have a burger, other one wants to have a idli, and the third one wants to have a paratha. Then it is very difficult for mom to make all 3 different cuisines. So what she does, she makes let's say one day she puts it on the rotation. She can do that idli and paratha is served with the same rasam or sambar, whatever you want to have. Similarly, knowing all the physical and chemical properties of each and every element, that is total of 118 elements, is impossible. So what they try to do? They try to do a classification. Classification means every classification has a basis. As of now, I can see in your class itself, what is the basis? The boys will sit on the, let's say, on the my left-hand side, and the girls will sit on the right side. Maybe other day, the ma'am in the class may decide to make you sit according to the height, or she may decide on certain other criteria, like in the alphabetic order of your names, or maybe the marks you have obtained. So the classification has to have a certain basis. So there is a basis to the classification of the elements also. Various scientists, have you heard about the classification of elements in class 10th? Or I understand you must not have, because earlier it was there, like Mendeleev periodic table and all those, but now it is not there. So kindly let me know if you have heard about the earlier classification of the elements.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Like, yeah, I know. But still some students are by choice read that at own, or that sometimes the different centers do teach that out of passion and because somebody wants to know that. So that is why I just asked you. That's fair. Like we all have evolved. We have evolved from the age of instrument-based phone to the mobile phones. We have gone up to the iPhones. Similarly, from a basic black and white TV to the colored HD television sets. Similarly, scientists of, let's say, who were 100 years ago to us, they thought in different ways and different bases of classification, and modern scientists believe or do it in a better way on the classification. So most prevalent earlier classification, which we will take up during the course of time, is that they talked about Mendeleev. Mendeleev have 2 different spellings, EEF and EEV also. So don't get confused. So we can have it as Mendeleev also. He based his classification on atomic mass. Whereas the modern periodic table, this is what is in front of you, is modern periodic table. So modern periodic table is based on atomic number, not atomic mass. Because what can be the reason? Atomic mass is sum of number of protons and neutrons, whereas atomic number is the number of electrons. So this is a better way. Why? Because the elements are based on their characteristic, classified on the basis of their characteristic properties. It is the electron which determines the properties. You might have learned about when you were doing the chemical bonding, acid bases and salts, metal, non-metals, when you said Metals have certain characteristic. Metals are lustrous. They have 1 or 2 electrons in their valence shell, whereas non-metals have 6, 7, or 8 electrons in their valence shell. So they believe that electrons are more basic because they decide the chemical properties of elements. Electrons are responsible for the reactivity of the elements, right? So that is more appropriate. Every time we will be using the earlier classification, including the Mendeleev. There are 2 more important ones, Daubert and Lothar-Meyer volume curve. There must be 1 or 2 more there, right? So, but we will be focusing on them and learning about them. More importantly, in due course of the time, whenever you find time or you make it a routine that you learn periodic table upside down, not like this. You might have done that in class 10th, but in class 11, we want to learn them like this. This is our group 1, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium, because they have similar properties, not identical. Remember, there's a difference between similar and identical. Like every student in the class is different. There can be similar. We can have a bunch of students scoring very good marks, bunch of students occupying top 5 and like that. We can classify them that way. But here we have to talk about the similarity in the learning pattern. I need to classify my students on the basis of their learning patterns, right? So please remember that in the due course of time, I'll appreciate if you can quickly learn the periodic table, take it from NCERT and in the chapter 3 and start learning that horizontally. This is group 1, this is group 2, and these are groups which are numbered as 13 to 18, beginning with boron, right? So this is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Make your own small targets that you have to learn the group 1 and group 2 in next 10 days, right? You can find their names in NCERT book itself. And I'll appreciate, or we can have a competition who learns them first. And who will be the first one to reproduce just at the beginning of the class. Not this week, in the 3 class later. I'll check the schedule and let you know, but you keep on learning them, right? So today, let's end the class with summarizing what we have understood and what was the purpose of having this introductory class. I'm sorry that I cannot ask all of you to name yourself, but I will take your register and to understand who is who and try to talk with the names because that helps. Number 1 thing. Number 2, today the class is to set up the tone for learning of rest of the year. How the class 9th and 10th syllabi are related to the class 11th, 12th, IIT JEE and NEET entrance examinations, right? And we should be focusing on practicals. Look around yourself, what happens and why. Like to give you an example like that to end the class. This was the one thing which we did in the class to find out that none of the water is safe to drink, right? The other thing I'll say that irrespective boys or girls, ask your mom to boil potato for you and just find out which will take a longer time and why. In one case, take the total complete potato without dicing it into smaller pieces. Just put it in a cooker or a pan, whatever you feel like. And the next day, put the smaller pieces. And next time we will find out which will be boiled easily, which will take a lesser time and save your fuel. Ma'am, is the question clear to you, to everyone right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you repeat what she said? You can switch on mic. What is the activity you are supposed to do? Say in steps. Switch on mic and talk.
Activity called, we should bake the or boil the full potato in one vessel, and we should boil the chopped potatoes in one vessel.
Right, very correct. And just try to make them almost of the similar size. The pieces should be also of the similar size, and the whole potato should also be of the similar type, right? And it's not physics into it. There is a chemistry into it, right? Neither biology, there is chemistry into it. So with that, I just give a open end to the students if they have any queries or they have any suggestions.
No, ma'am.
Okay, then it's nice interacting with all of you before we till the time. Happy learning. Keep revising the concepts and make NCRT books your best friend. Right? Have a great day. Thank you.
Sit down on it. Don't.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We had a wonderful session today. Thank you so much for your inputs, ma'am. Definitely our students would have got a good learning.
Thanks a lot.
Shall we leave
Shall
the
we-
session, ma'am?
Shall we
Yeah.
leave the session? Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Leave option.
Aye.
सेव करनी थी, पूछने जा रहे हैं, 2 मिनट रुक जाओ।